All right, you guys, so I want to teach you what to look for when I look at a baby pack goat and when I'm seeing something I really like and, when I don't. I don't have any bad characteristics to show you here, but what I'm going to show you is what I look for. So this goat, number one, we kind of talk about breed. This is a Sable Alpine Cross. And so I'm really excited about this goat in particular. What I'll look for first off is I'll look at their stance, and he'll stand hopefully normal. Nice flat back. I don't want too much width, but I don't want too skinny. He's a little bit on the thin side. If you look at him from the back, you'll see he's kind of thin. But remember, these goats will almost always fill out horizontally as well, but he's on the thinner side. I've seen thicker, but I look for thin. I want an efficient body. I want a nice slope to this rump, not a flat back and not a fall off. I like a nice 45-degree angle here, and then what we look for is a good spring load in the back end. So what I'm looking for is to draw a line from here to here to here, and this needs to be a nice flattened Z. This would be what we call posty. So posty, that's a goat that walks kind of stiff. They're kind of gunk, 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 rather than that goat that flows. Those goat that flow on the trail, you want to look for this good, deep Z pattern in how they stand. And then, hi, buddy. What I'm also looking for is the substantial legs. Now, know that babies will have a tendency to show themselves leggier when they're babies than they finish. But man, if they're not looking leggy when they're babies, then that's a thing. And you can see this guy is really, really leggy. He's got much more leg than body depth, and that's what I look for. I want about a third more leg than body depth when I'm talking about a baby, because that it ends up finishing like I want. The other thing that I'm going to look for is temperament. Is this guy up in my business? Does he want to be held? Does he wag his tail every time you pet him? I want a super bonded, bottle-fed baby, and I will say it again and again and again. I believe you are taking a risk by getting dam raised babies simply because the level of bonding is not as extreme as this. You can use food to overcome lack of time if you're somebody who's super busy, that sort of thing. Bottle babies are just easier to work with, and they are more naturally bonded as a rule. So I highly suggest that part. Now the last part, I want to come up and have you look at these goats in the pen, because this is something else that I look for. I am always looking for a couple of things in the pen. One thing that I look for, and it's when I'm not in here, is I look who stands on this the most. Because whatever baby stands on a rise like this, any of these high spots, very often will be kind of the one that's showing himself with the most will. So I pay attention to who stands on top. I also pay attention to the feeder. I like to see temperament at the feeder. If a goat's more complacent at the feeder, then he might be someone a little more complacent on the trail. If he's aggressive in everything he does, that means that's a goat with will and with drive. And I look for that in the pins and how they interact. And this goat that I had out here, by the way, this Alpine Sable, is the one that's on this feeder all the time. He is definitely, of these four, he's kind of my alpha. Now, bear in mind, you don't want a pack of alphas. You don't want 6 alphas behind you gunning for number one, because then what you got is you got a beehive behind you in the first mile of trail. It's kind of a nightmare of you beating goats back. You want goats that want to be on you like their lives depend on it, but you also need those a little more complacent goats to complement them to be willing to walk back in the string. And so, and by the way, this is a good example. This is a goat with more width. This goat may finish slightly too wide, but he's pretty right. This one's pretty right. The only worry about this guy is that he's thin. So there's some width differences that you can see. So in the subject of picking babies, those are some of the things that I look at. And I want to put it with the caveat that me included, I am making my best guess. I've had goats that I thought were going to be the ultimate rock star that turned out just okay. And I had some goats that I went, I think they're going to be okay, and turn out to be my rock stars. there's still God involved. There's 4 years of growth. There's handling. There's what you teach them. Do you teach them to be lazy by all they do is hang out in the pasture, or do you take them on the trail? So be careful with trying to be so predictive in your mind about saying, ooh, this means that and that means this. We don't have enough time in the sport to do it. Anybody who says they know everything about pack goats and breeding, they don't. I don't either. We haven't had the lifespans to be able to do it. So we're still, this is a new art form. This is a new craft, a new sport, a new passion, a new whatever you want to call it. And we're learning about it, but we need generations. We've been studying horses as pack animals for, a huge hundreds of years. We haven't studied these guys as pack animals nor bred for it. The equipment's new. We're all learning. So this is what I believe to be the things that I would look for. And then I'm also very conscientious to know there are still so many things at play that you could pick in the exact way I just suggested and you could get a turd. That's a reality. But the overall, what I'd say is I have confidence that what I'm telling you is the things to look for, and then you just have faith from there, and you put your time in, and you make sure you get them from somebody who's got the right goats, and we have that for you. So in case you want to get them from us, you're welcome. And PackGoats.com will walk you through the entire process, cradle to grave, all the courses, the equipment, learn how to raise babies. We have the babies. We can personally mentor you, all that fun stuff. So I hope you find that helpful. Marc Warnke, the Goat Guy, signing out.